pass from Havili was magic. The shift on for Crotty. Boom, far down you go, Quackett Smith. Me, oh my, I have enjoyed that. Yes, boy.
Sit back, relax, put your belt on, and enjoy the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Draft Rugby Show, where we discuss fantasy rugby, the game they play online in heaven. Having said that, tonight we'll be doing none of it. We'll be discussing the Australia versus France rugby series that's about to start tomorrow night. With me here, I've got Cargie, mate. I see the Wallabies jerseys being shown there. Are you excited about the Test series and what's been going on?
Yeah, the boys. I had to remind you to go get your jersey, out of the storage just before you went and did your hair. Got your hair gel and everything. Got your wife to prep you for the hair and makeup for the show.
Bring your snacks.
Had some snacks. And what were you having? Some kale chips, I believe.
Yeah, mate, they're good too.
Very good. I'm good, mate. I'm very excited. I mean, Wallabies Test tomorrow. Lots to be excited about. Lots of young new faces. A lot of unknowns. It's going to be very cool.
Yeah, and Nelson as well, mate. You join us down the bottom there with the beanie on. It's gotten cold since we were prepping. What's going on?
Look, I'm on a buzz. I'm very excited for this series. I'm excited for tomorrow night. I had bought tickets to go see the game, but with the current lockdown, we're not going to be able to make it there. But it really hasn't shaken my excitement for this matchup. So I'm ready. I'm pumped.
Are there any is there any water to any of the conspiracy theories that some of our Queensland rugby community counterparts have perpetuated our lockdown so that the game could be moved up to Brisbane?
You mean Mitch Evans?
Names, but we know a few of them. All right, well, yeah, Mitch Evans have stolen the game away from us. It's nonsense.
Without a doubt, they've planted COVID positive people in Bondi Junction and Bondi Beach that are just walking around spreading the disease just to make sure. Yeah, so without a doubt, that's factual.
But I mean, Brisbane's pretty good for us in terms of success in recent years. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Rugby Australia thought about it as well.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's doing what it takes. Isn't it?
Nelson, you're excited about the French side. Can you tell us what you got down here? What did you want to go through?
Yeah, mate, this has been labelled as Viva la Renaissance, and I think it is in every sense a renaissance for both of these two teams. France, I mean, we've been talking about in the last few years. They're touted as a world-class team. They are exciting group of players. But since, the last few years, we've just expected them to reach a height that, they've done at parts but haven't consistently done. They haven't been able to win a competition in the last 2 years, which sort of everyone was expecting them to be able to come through and do. They've come second in the last 3 tournaments they've been in. That's the Six Nation in the last 2 years, as well as the Autumn Nations Cup. There's been lots of reasons around it, including, players with COVID, having to bring in a B team, pretty much still, I think they came out and either took it to England or beat England with a B team. But there's very much a renaissance for them. This is their new birth. They're building to a home Rugby World Cup in 2023. And this is an exciting group of players coming through. You're going to hear again and again that there's a lot of names missing, but there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of depth in France, and we're going to see it in this group here. While on the flip side, Australia, there's been a few lean years for us in rugby, and we've finally got a good generation coming back through, and we're trying to build for the future. We've got new broadcasters in Stan and Nine, which are creating a buzz around rugby in Australia, and we've had the last two years of Super Rugby AU. So there's a lot building for rugby, and I think this is a very pivotal year for rugby in Australia, not just the Wallabies.
Yeah, and I would say as well, France have come second in the last 2 tournaments they've played, in the last 3 tournaments they've played. Happy for that to be a 4th as well. If they come top 2 in this one but finish in second, I'll be a very happy man.
It sounds good.
Yeah, and I think still look exciting. Still relatively new Wallabies coach. A new Wallabies setup. It is, it is obviously. Nelson talked about a kind of a new generation for the French, but in all senses, it is for the Wallabies as well. So, super excited to see what's going to happen.
Guys, for entree tonight, let's go through the team lineups. They've all been named now, so we can get stuck into that. And before we do go through these, I shot a message out to Benny Darwin, the Kia cohesion, today to see what his thoughts were about the lineups, because I think there's been a lot of chat about the fact that it is quite a young, inexperienced French side. I think 4.9 average test caps per man was the number being thrown out on Pick and Drive. Whereas I just want to stress that the Wallabies are pretty young as well. They've got Slipper and Hooper there, but it's a very inexperienced side on their end as well. So I asked him what he thought, and he said they haven't run the numbers yet, which I think is the politically correct answer, because he knows I probably would have put money straight down on whoever he told me to. But also he expects that both numbers will be pretty poor. And my favourite quote was, "They're kind of lucky to have found each other at this point, kind of like two nerds in a nightclub."
Perfect. I love it.
How good, mate. That's better than Lego, that.
So there you go. That's his summary on how these two sides are looking. We're basically two nerds in a nightclub. So
and
get excited.
We also reached out to Freddie Michalak, and I think he's just running scared like the rest of these French players. You know, they're a bit nervous about what's coming to them. So he didn't even reply to us. I think it's out of fear.
Yeah, I like how you mock players that don't come on the pod, Nelson. That's definitely the best way to make sure we get more on.
Look, he clearly doesn't listen. He would have wanted to be on this pod.
Right.
That's true. I think, look, in fairness, Nelson did try to have a good chat to Freddie down at a club rugby match down in southern Sydney, and Freddie didn't really want a bar of it. So I don't know.
Not at all.
He's on, and that definitely meant he'd love to come on the podcast. So
that's right.
yeah.
Let's
exactly.
push on, guys. So I've got the Les Bleus.
Les Bleus. Allez, les Bleus.
Les Bleus. On the screen there for their side. We've got the full 15 and the bench there as well. Why don't we work through there, Nelson? I know you've put a lot of work into looking into these teams, and we can talk a little bit about it in detail. Do you want to start us off?
I've got, before Nels does, of course, just quickly mention putting it up on the screen. Get after us on YouTube. We're recording this. You can see us. You can look at Nelson's shiny head, which he's hiding at the moment, actually. But yeah, please tune into the pod so you can see the lineups of what we're talking about.
Give us some reviews as well, some 5-star reviews. We don't ask.
Yeah, honest 5-star reviews is what we expect.
Right. Yeah.
It's only 20 or 30 from Nelson so far, so we need some other.
Yeah, exactly. Look, if we jump across into this French side, there's a lot of young players coming through, but there are some players that are really building and will be names, coming forward for this French side moving into the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Jean-Baptiste Gosset or Gauss, I don't know how to pronounce it. We're going to butcher many names tonight for anybody that's listening.
It's
Gros,
Gros, isn't it?
Oh, Gross, not Gosset, sorry. He played 14.
Pronunciation right there.
Yeah, butchered it already, mate. He played 14 caps for the French, golden generation under 20s team in those 2 years where they've won the last couple World Cups, scoring 3 tries before graduating into this French side last year. And he's sort of starting to become a household name for them in that loose head jersey. He's an exciting player to watch moving forward. Gaëtan Barlow hits his debut from Castres. I don't know too much about this guy. I haven't seen him play too much, but, another young player coming through. And then one of the funnest names, Demba Bamba. Not too hard to get right this one, but he's touted as the French answer to Taniela Tupou. It's a big call, but he's a big boy with a step on him, and he's an exciting player moving forward. Really solid scrummager as well. So they've definitely looked to have a good set piece, I think, moving into this game with their starting side.
I'm extremely excited about Demba Bamba, and what's not to be excited about? Check out his highlights. Similar to Tupou, he's got one hell of a running game. He's got absolute weapon of a shimmy on him. Great.
Oh, yeah.
And look, the other thing is that I think similar to Tupou as well, again, early in his career, very exciting, very big young prop, was just renowned for his power and his running. But he has really started to back it up in the scrum. I think I was reading an article, there was a quote from last year. He was saying, I'm here to dominate. Scrummaging has become my absolute passion. So he knows his role, and nowhere else in the world are props celebrated like they are in France. So he'll definitely be getting all of the, I guess, preparation and treatment and practice that he needs. So, really exciting.
He's definitely one to watch in this matchup. They've got a massive lock pairing in Kylian Garace and Romain Taufifanoa. I might have thrown a few extra syllables in there, but I'm not going to try it again.
If you say it faster, you can almost get away with it. You know,
Taufifanoa. Taufifanoa.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, say it again.
Taufifanoa.
Just say
Is it fee or fair?
fast, mate. We're,
It's all right. Doesn't matter.
The reason why I say it that many times is because he is such an enormous bloke that for him to even hear you, you know, you got to say it from different angles and whatever. He is huge. Nels was contesting the stats that I found. I don't care whether he might have lost a little bit of weight and been a bit more in shape now, but mate, he's about 6'7", and he's been up between at his heights, his greatest, up at 145 kilos of just a weapon. Such a wrecking ball. But he also has these pretty silky skills, got these awesome offloads. Like basically, he's never losing that contact battle, and then he's offloading almost every time, which is just extremely valuable. Super exciting. I think he actually even makes Sidaleki Tamani look small, which is no mean feat. So
massive.
Maybe that's why they didn't play Sidaleki this week, just in case, you know. But huge. Very excited.
Yeah. If we jump across into the back row, we've got Dylan Cretan, a blindside who he's coming off the back of a really, really good Six Nations. He's got a massive work rate. He's an exciting number 6 coming through for this French side. They've got Captain Anthony Jelonch. I think it's Jelonch from Castres as well.
Who will be having him for Jelonch?
Yeah, love it, mate. I told you not to say it, so I love it that he did it. Anyway, he's another exciting player. Can throw an offload. 15th overall, Harry, in the top 14. That's pretty good.
Yeah, can throw an offload. I think he had 15 for the season or something like that, which is pretty good for a man in his position, really.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to work out why he's the captain, as you know, in a young side, and it's just got the arrogance, throwing offloads, getting hands through contact. Surely,
mate, he's a flanker. You just they're the leaders you need.
All right, man.
Cargie, do you want to take us through number 8?
I thought you were going to throw me out to the backs there. I was going to say, mate, we can't skip number 8, old Sekou Makalu. Mate, Makalu, I believe.
Okay.
So
nice.
when in doubt and pronouncing French names, Makalu, you just let's get the accent on. No, extremely excited about him as well. He's just an absolutely powerful and dynamic back rower. So he can play 6, 7, and 8. He can get in there in jackal. He can make some big carries. He can offload, make some big hits. Very powerful, but at the same time, he's such a dynamic player that in the French top 14, he's also found himself playing on the wing a few times. He's dominated the jersey, and he has lightning pace. So he has scored a few tries, whether it's in the 11 or any of the back row numbered jerseys, burning people out on the outside. And I expect that similarly to how the All Blacks last weekend, you saw the back rowers out on the fringes, I'd expect to see him out on the fringes quite a lot. And he'll be one you got to catch quickly before he gets
I think he's shaping up as, you know, a really good matchup for Harry Wilson. They're both quite dynamic number 8s. They're, you know, like for like in size, 195 centimetres, 108 kilograms. He's got a few more years experience on him. I think he's 26 compared to Wilson's 21, but he's also an exciting player to watch.
It looks like they've just got a massive pack, right? And 6, 7, 8 can all play multiple positions in that back row. Jelonch is, I think he played at 6 in one of the final Six Nations game, maybe against the Scots. So he can play across different positions in the back row. He's still 1 meter 95 and 105 kilos. So they're going to bring some real size between them and the second row, Bumba in the front row. It's going to be a very, very physical pack. And I'm expecting them to try and go through the Wallabies, who I think historically have probably lacked a little bit of physicality in the tight.
Yep.
Mate, well, I don't want to jump the curb, but they've put a big back row together just to try and handle the big Wallabies back rowers. But I'll save that till we discuss the Wallabies team. Sounds
good, mate. Good, nice little teaser for that. Do we want to jump across into the back? So Baptiste Couillard, he's basically been the second choice backup for Dupont, who has not come over after playing that grand final in France. They have a lot of depth at 9, but that's what they've been saying. He's their second choice, their second best, and he's quite an exciting 9 coming through. And then a name that, if you've paid any attention to the under-20s and, hype train over in France, you got Louis Carbonel. He played the under-20s a few years ago, and he's just lit up the top 14, for a few seasons now. Hasn't reached those heights. I think he's about their third choice as their fly half, but in a very, very exciting player with a huge future in front of him. So he's going to see this as his chance to really lock himself into that position.
Well, I think there's a thing. He's still so young. I think he's just turned 22 recently. And he's only been playing top-level footy for, 3 years. And it's not, might not be first choice, not by any means because of his skill level, just France happens to have 3 really good fly halves at the moment. So
their depth is outstanding at the moment.
Yeah, he's all class. He can really do it all, and a fantastic kicker as well.
Yeah, Carbonell, one to watch for sure. If we go into these centres, they've got Jonathan Dante. He's been in that squad for quite a few years, so I think he's picked there as a bigger body in that 12 jersey, which is not normally what you expect from France, but to add some experience with some of those bigger names missing. He's a big unit. He's 181 centimetres tall and 110 kilograms, so a big boy.
I was just going to go back, to your fly half, Louis Carbonell. He plays for Toulon, and they've been starting him ahead of Urpieta, the Argentinian fly half, who we know is getting some Argentinian test caps the last few years as well. So if you need a vote of confidence of what he can do, the fact that he's starting above that bloke's a pretty big sign that he's got real talent.
Yeah, he's just yet to show it on that international stage, but, he'll see this as his chance to do that for sure.
Yeah.
If we go across to that outside centre, we've got Arthur Vincent. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I know it's not Vincent, but Arthur Vincent, I'm going to go with that. He's another sort of, I think, a relatively bigger body in that outside centre jersey, something that they don't have, maybe not as big as Dante. And then in their back three, this is an exciting attacking back three. They've got Gabin Villiers, who he got his chance last year. I think it was in the All Nations Cup when they had to make a few changes. And he also played in the Sevens Olympic qualifier. I think it was against Ireland that they lost. So if they actually won that, there's a good chance he was not going to make this tour. So I think he butchered that Sevens tournament because he wanted to come play the Wallabies, not go to Japan for the Olympics. What do you guys think?
Yeah, just wanted to come to Australia, get some sun.
Yeah, except they've been locked up and only seeing the outside of a bus window.
Yeah, that's right. I look, he's another fleet-footed, fast back, and just to jump in as well, Vincent, who I think you nailed his name for the record. He's not that big. He's only 88 kilo. He's okay. He's another little live wire. I think Dante is really the only.
Yeah, he's the bigger body.
He's the real big unit.
The guy they're missing is Vakatawa. Vakatawa, who he's their absolute weapon. I think he normally plays 13 as well.
He's an exciting player.
Yeah, I think Dante is in a similar vein to him, but definitely more.
Yep. Then we jump across to the other wing. You got Damien Penord on the wing. Cargie, mate, you're drawing comparisons that none of us can see. Who do you reckon he's like?
Yeah, I can't read this either.
I love a hype train. And
and it's bad. It's bad.
Mate, the French Ben Smith.
Nah, not at all.
Skills for days. He's played 13 fullback. I think he's probably more of a fullback than a winger. Same as Ben Smith, found himself playing on the wing a lot, but just pops up everywhere and just has this insane skill set. A hell of a finisher, but the only caveat that the boys are very quick to remind me of, which means you probably shouldn't be drawing any comparisons, his defence could be left a little bit lacking. Who really cares about defence? All we remember are the players who score all the tries.
You're right on that. Like this is definitely an attacking back three. That's completely what they've gone. Instead of selecting who they've got on the bench for 15, Anthony Boutier, he has a massive boot, really exciting guy that will come off the bench for that 15 jersey. But they've handed Melvin Jaminet the starting jersey at 15. He hasn't even played a match of top 14, the top flight footy in France. He's been playing Pro D.
Pro D2.
But he played, Pro D2. He played a massive role apparently for them in Perpignan and their promotion to the top 14. He was the top try scorer in Pro D2, and he's supposed to be quite an exciting player, but by all reports, he's the attacking player, not the kicker. So it really shows the intent of this French side for me.
Yeah, and I think you'll find Penaud and Jaminet just like roaming everywhere. They'll be interchangeable in their roles out the back there. But yeah, can counter-attack. Can be very exciting.
Worth saying as well, there's a couple of players there that played some time in the Six Nations this year. Penaud's another one who was, I think he actually scored one of their like game-breaking tries against, I want to say Wales, where he put the chip and chase through and scored himself as well. So
I think it was.
There are a few players here that have been starting through the Six Nations, albeit not too many of them.
Yeah, for me, Penaud, I think, is the player I'm most excited about for the whole of French rugby. I know Dupont is unbelievable as well, but Penaud for mine is just amazing. And I've seen some chat around he does have maybe some attitude issues, and that's kind of held him back from being selected.
He's French, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure? Let's not get into stereotypes on this podcast, boys. Are you sure that he's not more like the French Mark Nawangani-Tuasi? That can't defend and has attitude.
You're drawing the defence comparisons. No. Look, he will definitely excite us on the weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm jumping ahead here, but one of the matchups of the game for mine is going to be him going up against our very own Marika Koriobete.
Yeah, Koriobete, exciting, but I'm going to back Koriobete every day.
So, mate. Look, one other one I had there was on the bench. Baptista Pezzenti is the reserve kind of lock back row cover. I thought it was interesting. In the top 14, he was the second most carded player in the top 14. He had a couple of yellows and a red card. So I feel like he's probably the Aussies version, the French version of Lockie Swinton. So I'm hoping he comes on late yellow card, late red card, and it's just the thing that sparks the Aussies. That's basically all the credit I'm going to give him.
He's the Thomas Lavanini of France. He's high up in the percentage chances of getting a card this week, so should be good.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, let's push on, boys, to the Wallabies side now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bring into screen for you.
Let's go the green and gold.
We can see it there.
Yep.
Perfect.
We've got the squad up. Got the team list up. Well, look, for this, I'll start off with the Wallabies. Simple points. David Rennie's come out and said selection is based on merit. He's just said, we've always selected a side based on earning the right to wear the jersey, and his team is no. So he's tried to cast away any aspersions of, trying out different players because
combinations.
Because it's not a top class French side or whatever. He's just said, look, based on all the select boys I selected, how they performed in a training, this is the best team that we've got to put out. And so that's exciting, but also exciting, 4 possible debutants this weekend, all off the bench. But I'll read them off and then you can tell me who you're most excited for, guys. So we've got Nos Lonergan. I'm definitely most excited for old mate Nos. Darcy Swain, Lenny Katau, and Andrew Kellaway. Boys,
Lonergan
first. Yeah, can I go first?
I've never heard both of you wait. That's amazing.
I'm most excited about Darcy Swain
okay.
because clearly Dave Rennie, he's a smart guy. He's obviously a much better coach and selector than I am. Clearly he's saying something that I'm not. So I can't wait to see what the Wallaby selectors are saying that I'm not. That's what I'm most excited about.
I think one thing on Swain is he's been asked to lift his intensity, and I think he has done that, and he's lifted his work rate this year. I don't think he is a top choice for the locks in the Wallabies currently. We've got Rodder coming back. He's in Australia currently, didn't make the squad. By all reports, Rennie doesn't like him as much as previous coaches have.
By one report. I'll say by all reports.
Yeah. I mean, he's not in this Wallaby squad, is he? And they've got Darcy Swain on the bench. So that says a lot for me.
Look, I won't go into it because you guys know how I feel, which is that I don't like Darcy Swain, and I would have picked Trevor Hosea very simply.
Mate,
lying.
Look, I like Swain. I think he's got a future ahead of him. I just don't think he's there yet.
Well, I feel like we've already spent too much time talking about him, but Len Ikitau, also very excited for Len. I think that's going to be really cool. He's definitely someone we all think has a big future.
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few tests. I think he's going to build into that potential 13 role. His competition's Parisi, who's injured at the moment as well. But he's an exciting young centre coming through. I think he had a very good Super Rugby AU, maybe a little bit quieter at times in Super Rugby Aotearoa, but I'm excited to see him get more of a chance.
Yeah, I'll never forget last year when he was in the wider, I don't know if he's in the wider Wallabies squad or the Wallabies B team or whatever, that played the Pumas. And he scored something like 3 tries, just shrugging people off and leaving them for dead, left, right, and centre. Was awesome. I think that's where, apart from his good season this year, that's where Dave Rennie probably saw a lot of him. So
I think the big question for him is now adjusting to the fact that he's playing physical professional rugby week in, week out. I thought he was exceptional early in the AU season. And as the year's gone on, he's kind of petered out as he's struggled to back up week to week to week. So he's definitely a prospect, no doubt about that. He's a smart footballer and he's got some real, physical attributes that you want in a good outside centre. But at the same time, he's a young man and it'll be good for him to make a debut this week.
Yep.
Excellent. And lastly, Andrew Kellaway. I know, look, you guys probably more excited than I am about Kellaway. I think he's got a lot of potential. I feel like probably I just haven't seen enough of it in recent years. I know he has been playing very well when he's been over there in Northampton.
Australia's Ben Smith, I think.
Not prepared to say that.
DSP.
This is also jumping the gun a bit, but for mine, I just find it really hard. If Reece Hodge is not injured, how is Reece Hodge not on the bench?
Look, I think there is an answer there. I think they're trying to, spread some of this experience out over the next few tests, not pack them all into this match and then, potentially have them missing for that, second match here. So I think Andrew Kellaway is trying to fill a similar role of Hodge. He can cover outside centre, he can cover the wings, he can cover fullback. At a stretch, you could probably throw him in at 12. But I think the biggest thing for him is he never gives up in defence. He showed that in the back end of Super Rugby Aotearoa. I think he's got some real talent in attack as well, even though he hasn't shown it week in, week out at a Super Rugby level. I do think he's quite a talented attacking winger at times, but I think he's just a solid choice, very good at D, covers a lot of positions, and I think that's probably why we're seeing him get his chance. It's been a long time coming for him after having, being touted as a very, very good player coming through Super Rugby and Australia under-20 side as well.
Is he still the leading try scorer in the under-20s World Cup?
I think he is.
Well, this is the other thing for mine is that his reports, of how well he played for Northampton. The problem I have with that is that he was playing in the back three with another one-cap Wallaby. Let's see if you guys can pick it. Probably someone who I was most...
Nairavoro.
And, mate, it's pretty easy to pick up a lot of tries and look good when you've got Nairavoro leading the competition in all attacking stats over there in the UK. So, we'll see. I guess we'll see. He has a chance to play for Australia.
Boys, should we jump up into the actual starting side? Because we've got a lot on for these bench guys. Mind you, we didn't do much about Nos Lonergan, who we're all very excited to see coming on as well.
All right, we'll go through the positions. We'll get through to him. The front row, some seasoned campaigners to start for us. Slipper, Alan Alatoa, and BPA, the incumbent from last year. I think it's a rock-solid front row. Absolute class there. It's, obviously Taniela Tupou is one of a kind and we're all extremely excited about him, but it's really easy to overlook or forget how good Alan Alatoa is. Going to the last World Cup, he had to be one of the top 4 props in the world for sure, probably top 3 props in the world. And he still is.
He's a very different player to Taniela Tupou, but he's just an absolute stalwart of this Wallaby side. I think he is a massive part of this side. He's a leader on the field, on and off the field. And going forward, he's going to get lots of minutes, as is Tupou. Tupou's not just going to usurp him and get 80-minute games here, because Alan Alatoa is a world-class tight head. And I think this is quite a strong scrummaging front row, and I think that's what we've gone for here. We've gone, dynamic front row off the bench.
That's it. And part of the core leadership group are from these front rowers. Slipper,
Yep.
Allen, captain of the Brumbies, and Cooper. And with Matty Tamura in the back. So that's kind of the core leadership group. So they're really valuable in that sense.
Yep.
Yeah. In the
sorry, Harry, you go.
Yeah, go on. I don't know. You want to talk about the bomb squad, don't you?
I was just, mate. Thank you for not cutting my grass here, mate.
He just did.
The bomb squad, mate. Australia, we followed the Springboks. That bench back front row, I mean, God, it just looks good, doesn't it? We've got Angus Bell. When let's face it, he is going to be in the Wallaby 23 from now until his last day, when he retires as Wallabies captain. I think, like Jon Snow, his watch has begun. And you can almost just paste him on the team list. You know what I mean? If they put up a team list at Wallabies HQ, you can just leave Bell on there. You can just, I don't know.
Here's what a little bit of what we were talking about Taniela Tupou 2 years ago. Just such a dynamic ball runner, such an exciting player coming through. A couple of years behind him, but he is generally a very exciting player.
And look, and don't put your permanent marker away, because then we've got Taniela Tupou. And, there'll be a lot talked about whether he should be starting or off the bench. And you know how much I love Tupou, but there is no better impact player in the world than having Taniela Tupou come on for the last 30 in all facets. Just, we saw the impact the bomb squad had for the Springboks in that World Cup final. And just having Tupou come off the bench, having Bell and Tupou come off the bench is going to be unbelievable. And I think Lachie Lonergan, whilst really young, is going to grow into, he'll probably be a starting hooker pretty soon, but I'm super excited about this bench front row. So,
yeah, and I think one thing to note on Tupou coming on is this French bench front row is a big step down from what their starting front row is supposed to be, especially when it comes to scrummaging. So I think Tupou is going to come on and have a massive impact in the last 25 minutes of this match.
Yep, Nels, why don't you take us through the locks on the back row, man? I've been getting very excited, doing a lot of talking. So
no problem, mate. We've got the return of Matt Phillip. So he proved that he's a world-class lock, I think, in the last few years. I'm very excited by him returning back to Australia. Very important for us in this type 5. So he's an exciting player. We also have, Harry's just writing lots of different things here, Lukan Salakai-Lotto. Good lock. Wasn't sure if he was going to be a lock a few years ago, but has really evolved into that starting 5. We've got Robbie Valentini, who we've all been waiting for, a dominant, physical, hard-running number 6 in the Wallabies. They threw Swinton in for a chance last year. And Valentini adds, that mongrel that Swinton had, but he doesn't get the cards, and he's great with ball in hand as well.
He's got to be the actual prince that was promised, right? You know what I mean? We've talked about Jordan Walesi for ages, but Valentini's the actual prince that was promised.
Mate, he's the king. That's what he is. King that was promised.
Yeah.
We've got Mikey Hooper returning from Japan. And look, there's been a lot of talk about him getting rushed back in and people not too happy about it. How can you not start this guy with over 100 caps in this pretty raw side for Australia? He's going to get 80 minutes here. And, there's no player on the field other than maybe Corambetti who will give you 100% at every opportunity.
Mate, there's no other player in world rugby that is as an 80-minute player as Michael Hooper. Just doesn't exist.
We've also got the exciting Harry Wilson in the number 8 jersey. We already touched on him. Big body, loves ball in hand, knows how to hit a line, physical in contact, been trying to really develop his footwork into that contact as well. But he still looks like he makes the choice to run into people rather than around people, which is exciting to see.
It's good balance at back row, isn't it? That, realistically, you got Hooper the fetcher who can really focus on his defensive work rate, but if he is given a stiff, he has a good attacking game. Harry Wilson's got that X factor and ability to play a link player as well and make some line breaks. And then you got Valentini, just big body hitting people, can get us over the ad line. There's a very nice balance to that back row that Australia struggled to get for a long time.
It's what you'd expect to see in, I think, a Rennie side. You know, they like to kick return, they like to play open and play quite wide, and also need those physical players. And I think this fits that mold perfectly.
And similar to the bomb squad theme, having Nazarani on the bench, having Hooper, just that full 80-minute performance from him has afforded us, we don't need a backup 7 on the bench, I guess, in this game anyway. And so, if the French have had enough of getting smashed by Valentini and Harry Wilson, well, it's not going to get any quieter for them with Nazarani coming on with a real point to prove. This is Nazarani's first. He was not in the side last year, so first game back in for the Wallabies. He really is going to be coming with a vengeance. So it's going to be exciting for that.
In the back,
do you want to take us? Yeah.
Jake Gordon and Noah Lolesio at 9 and 10. Obviously, Tate McDermott was expected to get a run with Nick White out injured. I think when we get into the analysis of what to see from the teams, I think Jake Gordon's pass and kicking game is just that step above at the moment. So that's kind of got him the starting position despite coming back from injury. So I mean, all
experience.
Waratahs fans, and we think he's had a cracker season in what's been a pretty challenging team, to be honest. So yeah. I think more than deserves this spot.
He's definitely a halfback who can just step up and take the game in his hands. You know what I mean? Just read the room. But
I think we all believe that he's probably 20 caps short of where he should be if they just flicked Nick Phipps a few years earlier as well, right?
I agree. Look, he's that experienced player, I think, to link up with Lolesio as well. We've got Matt Tamua, also an experienced player around Lolesio, to ease him into international rugby. I think you don't want to have Tate McDermott, who's quite raw, and Noah Lolesio, who's quite raw as well. So I think that's probably another reason Gordon's been picked. He's got a bit more experience, probably a little bit more level-headed, makes some smarter decisions at this sort of level.
Yeah, obviously, having Nick White, the halfback he plays with in Super Rugby, would be fantastic, and such a leader as well. But you can't really have a better inside centre inside you than having Matt Tamua, someone who plays 10 and 12 and is such a cool head and season.
I'm a big fan of that position. I know he hasn't had the best year with the Rebels, but I think it's a different side and he's so composed. And, we were talking about him as a potential captain last year. He's an excellent player.
Yeah,
he adds a lot of starch, into that defensive line, as well as being that stable, controlled leader. I think he's going to step up when it comes to kicking, as well as Jake Gordon, and take a bit of that pressure off Lolesio. But Tamua, he can shoot out a line, put a very physical hit on, similar to his centre partner, Hunter Paisami.
I was going to say, mate, talking starch, mate. Paisami, what did we say? Vincent's somewhere in the mid-80 kilos, mate. He better be packing down some meat pies now that he's landed in Oz, because Paisami is going to be coming like a hunter killer.
Mate, but he's pretty much a similar size. Hunter Paisami is not a big boy either, but boy, oh boy, is he physical.
He hits like his Naira Voro, mate. We've all observed it, and we love it.
We all know that there's the actual weight and then there's the playing weight. For instance, Trevor Reese weighs 74 kilos, but his playing weight's 115.
Correct.
It's just, there's definitely that.
I think we've got to kind of find these stats, make these stats, because that seems like a real thing.
Yeah, we need to add that. Playing weight as a new stat. I love that.
Yeah.
In our back three, we've got the ever-present Marika Korombete, and I'm saying ever-present knowing he is leaving next season. But I think he's going to find his way back into Australia and into this Wallabies squad for the Olympics. And for the Olympics, for the Rugby World Cup. You don't think so? You don't think he's coming back?
No, not at all, mate. The way he talked in the last interview that they published an article on him, he was saying, you never know what's going to happen with the eligibility rules. We know that now they'll pick 2 overseas players. He's just hoping they pick him regardless.
Look, I don't think so. He's 28. I think he's taking his chance now to head offshore for a couple of years, sign his way back into Australia. He's going to want to put his name onto that page, pencil himself in, before he leaves Australian shores, so that people don't forget who he is.
You put that positive juju out there, mate, but I think it might just be your hope.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Look, I guess it's always hard to leave when you're on the top, isn't it? We would find it amazing to believe that someone could supplant him for the 11 jersey by the next World Cup, but he's at the absolute peak of his powers, and that includes signing some contracts overseas. So He's I actually haven't looked at his contract details if it's out there, but I'm sure.
I don't think it's long term.
2 years.
Yeah. So again, if that's 2 years, could sign into Australia. Look, let's not speculate too much.
Let's not talk about him leaving. Let's talk about him this game. As I said, one of the most exciting matchups is going to be him and Damien Pinot.
Pinot.
And we talked about his Pinot's lack of defensive abilities. And, Goran Betty only knows how to run at 110%. He doesn't have a lesser setting. The switch is broken. It's always just up the top. So going to be very exciting.
Yeah, definitely exciting matchup. I think we're going to see him roaming off Jake Gordon, off his inside shoulder, outside shoulder, hovering around Noah Lolosio as well. So he's going to inject himself into this game for sure. Australia love to have those, him mainly running off in those inside channels. So it's going to be exciting to see how he injects himself.
I was going to say, he's only scored the one try this year, so he'll be pick and driving. He'll be in there on the try line. He'll be desperate to get some more. So,
mate, we know if they're missing a forward in the front, the back row, or even the front row, he'll put his hand up to get into that scrum as well.
Right. Well, that kind of rounds out the teams, guys. So
no, we haven't touched on Tom Wright, Tom Banks.
Sorry, I thought that you guys had just managed to speak so long about
Tommy's
that we'd covered all three players.
Well, let's go to Tommy's really quickly. I'm excited about Tom Wright. I just think we haven't seen that much of him this year, but I'm excited to see what he can do again. He was at the peak of his powers last year, I think. And yeah, he's just lightning quick. I think people have forgotten just how fast and dynamic he is. So
he's a very, very different style winger. Not just your class finisher. He's got a more rounded game, I think, for a wing. And I mean, he's someone that we may see evolve into, a centre or another position. He's played a lot of centre. He's played, other positions as well. He's got a great pass on him, looks for people around him, whereas Korobidi just tries to carry the entire team every time he runs the ball.
Yep. And Tommy Banks, what do you guys think of Tom Banks? For mine, look, yes, he's had a great year. He's definitely can cut up some teams, running some attacking lines, but I don't know. Like, personally, I would probably pick Reece Hodge in at fullback if he was starting and available. I kind of feel like he's just the best that we have available to us. How do you guys feel about Banks?
Mate, there's no one else. There's literally no one else.
Yeah,
we have zero other fullbacks right now. That's the truth.
The scary truth is we talk about, and there's been lots of people going, let's put Tom Wright there. Let's put Vunivalu or Pataya or put someone else into that fullback. But look, I think if Tom Banks is ever going to make it, this is his chance. He's coming off the back of a very good Super Rugby season. He hasn't done it at an international level. I'm a little bit nervous about his suspect defence, but he has a whopping kick on him. I think he is an exciting player. And this is probably a series where, it suits him. He loves to kick return. He loves to get involved into a rugby match that's open. I think this is going to be an open match. I think this is going to be an open series. So if he can't do it here, he's not going to do it.
Definitely need to put some money in the banks. Excellent. All right, well, that's the Wallabies team.